Hello and welcome back, everybody. Going into part 2 of today's episode of Roll20 Presents The Burning Wheel. I have talked enough. I want to get some reactions in the post situation from everybody. So
I think I IRL had to make a steel test there.
where does everybody go? What does everybody do? Like we don't need to go through the moment to moment aftermath of like a big religious experience. The flowers are not a hallucination. They're real. The sunlight in the chapel in the choir church is real, and the temperature quickly raises to the point where it's like springtime inside. So where is everybody? What do you do? What's happening? Agatha, you have backstage access, so you and Elisandra have an opportunity to like do something.
I am trying to exit the scene as quickly as
Okay.
possible. I'm ditching out.
I think that's totally reasonable. Yeah.
I don't necessarily have to have a scene, but I definitely think that when Alessandra comes to, she's probably like mumbling something about like, if Robillard is there.
I forgot to tell you. So, you were blessed by the angels. If you don't have the Imperalia skill, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay, open it at whatever it would normally be opened at.
Oh, okay. It's perception based.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a wise, but different name.
Angel wise, yeah.
I was learning it, but now I guess I don't have to.
Welp.
Divine inspiration.
B2.
Okay.
What buff do I get?
You're still rich, and you have expensive friends.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think that like if Robillard is there, then she would be like apologizing to him and like mumbling about like I didn't see them, their hands like, and like just saying like random stuff about like the angels were there and she's sorry that she was such a brat before.
Yeah, Robillard's not even with you.
But she's still saying
yeah,
that.
he's turned you over. He's turned you over to the care of that same like one of the nuns that was taking care of you. And he's out shaking hands and talking to nobles, right? Like he's
Kissy
making
babies.
Yeah, he's taking advantage of the political clout and social clout that he's just made for the group of you.
Mm-hmm.
So he's out doing that.
Alessandra's mumbling about seeing angels
Okay.
because that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So upstairs, Agatha, Suffrance is like, I want to go see her. I want to go and see her, and like trying to convince you that that's like what you should let her do because she knows you'll just give her shit if she runs off. So yeah, she says, she's still here. I want to go and talk to her or see her at least. Please,
Why?
Agatha.
She's too. They won't let you see her anyways. And she like kind of flaps a hand in her face.
She scowls like, I know, but whatever. Shut up.
Well, what did you see when Robillard did whatever he did?
Well, he was saying all those things, and I can't remember exactly the words, but then he took the water from the bowl and put it on her, and then the flower. Can't you? And like you can smell it. You can smell like the meadow fresh scent of holy divinity, and you can feel the sun on your face, even though that's impossible.
Yeah.
And she says, and then everything changed. I had forgotten that smell. It's so beautiful.
So what? There are flowers now. The sun's out.
She nods.
The winter's ended.
She says, well, I don't know about the whole winter, but in here, it's beautiful.
Well, if the winter is not ended, then we still have work to do.
Fucking buzzkill. Yeah. And she just like folds her arms.
I'm sure it is a welcome relief, but temporary at best. We must focus on solving this.
And she nods, I suppose.
I would ask that you channel this enthusiasm into studying and reading with me. There are many books left to go through. And Agata is like picking herself up and like getting ready to go to the library again.
Yeah. So she's like, study, even now, can't we just enjoy it a moment longer? And Keela is like, you're such a girl. Come on, grow up. It was a miracle. Miracle's over.
It's not simply stop bickering. And this is the whole thing of Agata never having raised any kids.
Right.
It's like, oh, these kids. If you wish to stay a while and enjoy this, I will not stop you. But do come along. And she like pats Sufferance on the shoulder as she like walks by, heading down to the secret library.
Yeah. So Keela like gives her your arm or for you to hold and like guides you through. And as you're going, so you get out of earshot of Sufferance, and Keela says, I don't think she's worth all the energy you're expending on her. You couldn't see it, but the way she looked at the regent, it was disgusting. She's like a child.
You are also just a child.
Hardly.
Forced to grow early and bear a great responsibility far too early.
Her whole purpose is to make people who feel bad feel better. It hasn't worked on me.
Yeah, and Agata nods. Such are the ways she has been taught. It will take time for her to learn anything different.
I don't care about the angels, or their plan, or God, or any of that. But
And what do you care about?
that magic that he did, it was something. Will I be able to do that? Change the weather? Make plants grow?
Not the way that he does.
Then how?
There are other channels to power.
Will I be able to make men do as I say?
There's nothing stopping you from making men do as you say.
Perhaps.
There's no magic in that.
Perhaps before, when I didn't look like this.
The people do not do what Elisandra says because she is beautiful.
Was I? Before? I have no memory of it. I sometimes dream of a face in a mirror, but I can't know if it was mine.
I've never seen your face, child. And she like pats her on the back as if like,
Yeah, she,
you know, like it's okay. You don't have a face. It's cool.
yeah, she recoils when you touch her.
Yeah.
And she says, I'll not be convincing anyone of anything looking like this. Better to find my way in the dark. But what he can do, I want. I want that and more.
What he can do requires that you do care about the angel's plan, about God. His power is not his own, it is theirs.
Then show me another way.
And she's like, yes, yes, yes. And like, this is all like, as we're going to the library or whatever, like, this is where we open the door.
Mm-hmm.
First, we need to find some way to, we are striking at something bigger than us. We need to know how best to do it. And she's like walking along the shelf, like feeling the spines of books until she can like find the one she's after and pull it down.
And if we were to stop this angel and the winter, what if that's not their plan? What if that's not what they want? We live in
that
their
you're aware
house.
of their plan. We can have disagreements on what is to be done, and let those who can enact their will have their way. She like puts the book down and gets her familiar to like hop up on the table. It's always a contest. Everyone wants their own way. Everyone seeks their own fulfillment. Our task is to ensure that our will comes to pass. Simple as that. And she like flips open the book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as she's helping you like get down books to go through, there's a quiet that settles over the room, and then she breaks it some moments later, just by saying your name. She's like, Agatha.
Yeah, and Agatha like blinks and like grounds herself back in her own head again because
Yeah.
she was using her familiar's eyes. Yes, what?
It's nothing. Never mind.
I want to teach her something.
Okay.
I'm wondering, one, does she have the research skill?
No.
Okay, well then I'm teaching her research.
All of her skills are like making nobles look pretty.
Yeah. She's very good at that, I'm sure. Okay.
Did she get any skills from the naming thing?
No.
Nicola probably wouldn't have had any good ones anyway.
Yeah, what was Nicola capable of? Fucking nothing. One life path piece of shit.
Wow.
Little baby. He's a super cool lawyer now, though, so. Medieval baby lawyer, coming soon to a theater near you.
Objection.
Objection. I've got a poopy diaper. Baby lawyer.
Okay, a 5-year-old would not still be wearing diapers.
I know, but it's funnier
For
if he's a
one.
baby. Come on, that's the joke. All right, so you want to try to teach her how better to get at the information in books?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I am doing, regardless of whether or not she is aware of it.
Okay.
It's like, oh look, if we look in books and read the information in books, that can turn into information in our heads, and then we'll know things.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that cool? I'm LeVar Burton over here.
Because you're also blind, like Jordy LaForge? It's a complicated overlap. I like that.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah,
a whole thing. It's good. I like it.
Okay, so I'm rolling instructor against her will of 2.
So it's research is based on what?
Research is based on perception, I believe.
Okay. I don't think I ever gave her a perception. Yeah, I did. She's got 3 perception. Okay.
And I'm rolling instructor against her will, which, if I recall correctly, is 2.
Her will is 3.
Her will is 3. Oh, so willful.
Correct. Her will is 3.
Okay. Do I have any forks here? I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't have any wise is specific, unless I can fork reading.
Yes.
Okay. I have a fork.
Okay.
And I think there's lots of her like pointing out passages and being like, this one is important, and this one is important,
Mm-hmm.
and like trying to help her like synthesize large meandery texts written by crazy monks.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can actually teach her stuff.
Nice.
All right, that at least is successful.
She
Success.
gets a test.
She gets a routine test.
Okay, good. 6 more to go.
And then I want to actually do the research. One day my coven will be able to help me, and by that time I will be done everything I'm doing and the campaign will be over. But still.
The thing about Burning Wheel is once you have everything you want, the campaign is over and you make a new character.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like once it's done, it won't be as interesting anymore.
It's the Mr. Sicarian situation.
So I'm researching how to kill the Angel of Winter.
Yeah, God, it's like where to even begin, because you would need to look in, you would need texts that predate the foundation of the church as a, so you're like not even reading books, you're reading scrolls. There's some scroll ass shit going on,
some like engraved
because the you're not going to look in the like Catholic Bible for like how to kill God. It's like, no, we're not going to include that in our canon because God's invincible and so are the angels. So you're like, yeah, you're reading scrolls and stuff about written from like other religions that had interactions with the early sort of proto-church that opposed them, right? This is like forbidden magic.
Well, and Robillard presumably is all about that stuff.
That's why it's so important you have access to his personal library, because it's one of those things where he will read anything angel related at all, even if it's like banned by the church, because it's about like the angels are bad and God is bad.
And he's like, fascinating. Yeah, of course. Okay, so what is my obstacle here?
Well, what is your...
Presumably I'm using research.
What is your intent?
Yeah, I want to find I want to discover a way to murder the Angel of Winter.
Sure. Okay.
Actually, not murder. Because that's not actually true to what I think I'm going to probably end up needing to do.
Yeah.
Want to learn about a way in which the Angel of Winter is vulnerable.
Okay.
And that can be like, if you plant a flower, the Angel of Winter shows up. Like if they have some like thing, some rules that they have to follow, or some like set of strictures or whatever, like things they can and can't do.
Okay.
Shit like that. Because I think ultimately I'm going to have to use Cercination to just like trap the Angel of Winter forever.
That's certainly an option. Yep.
That's probably the only way I realistically get this thing finished.
Okay, let me look at the research skill here. I have like a general idea, but I don't want to like overdo it. Let's see. Eradicate. Research. Okay. Deciphering. I think it's going to be pretty high obstacle because yeah, I'm going to call this Ob 5. Vulnerabilities of entities whose whole purpose is being like perfect and invulnerable. So
yeah, it's going to be some obscure stuff.
Yeah.
Certainly. Well, Ob 5 got my B3 research. Let's do this. Can I fork in symbology?
yes.
Apocalypse wise? Reading. So I'm reading this all in books.
It's true. You are reading books.
I will fork astrology.
Yep.
Can I fork bargaining, the skill about making deals with demons and angels and stuff?
Bargaining can come later if that's a venue at which we go down.
Okay. I'm just thinking, if it's vulnerability involves,
yeah. It's too specific. That's a fork you could use later, not at this point.
Okay. So that's 3 forks plus astrology. Can I fork Radicate?
No.
Yeah, we're done.
The rats can't help you.
Your
The
rats
rats
help
can-
you now.
The rats cannot help you.
All right, so 3 regular forks. Gotta spend money to make money, so I'll spend an Artha.
Let's spend one of your persona. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, that was 5?
Ob is 5, yes.
Okay, and then I've got my astrology die to roll after this. Does not bode well. I rolled
You can do it. Astrology.
It's a lot of 3s. Too bad you don't have gray shade research.
Yeah, if only. Okay, well, we biffed.
So I think, again, most of your time, you spend hours down here, and most of your time is spent dismissing stuff, being like, no, obsequious, no, this is just about how great the angels are. You find a scroll that is a translation or like notes. There are notes on a translation. It's like a folio from an explorer, like a very early explorer, who basically like set up a trade route way back when to Stygia. So one of the first people in Carpathia to run into the Stygians. And this particular travel like folio, it's like his diary or his notebook, is talking about another scroll, another piece of work. So this is a reference to a thing you do not have access to. And he basically says, visited the temple of these swarthy people today, a strange and eldritch place. They believe such odd things. The way they handle their dead, my God, you wouldn't believe it. I saw the strangest thing, and there's an etching. There's like he's done a rubbing of a tablet, and he says like I snuck into the back room and took a rubbing of this. It was too blasphemous not to bring home because he wanted to like show it off to his friends. In it, you see an image. It's a hieroglyphic like rubbing of a winged figure laying on a table, and on either side of it on one side there is a jackal-headed figure. Holding a jar in his hand, it's drawn transparent, holding a jar, and on the other there is a magus or a magician or some kind of like ritually dressed individual holding a knife in one hand and what is like clearly meant to be a heart in the other, and holding it dripping. There's little like dots drawn as the blood, holding it over the body of this winged figure. And then the guy's notes are like, what could it possibly portend? Like, he's just like, I know this is weird and fascinating, but like, I don't understand it. Let's bring it home. And then he never speaks of it again. The rest of the folio is like his urgent return home.
Yeah. So basically, if I ask Stygians how to do this, they will know.
I have a friend who might know. Kind of a friend, not yet a friend, soon to be a friend.
It's a rubbing of part of an old tablet, so you don't have context for it, but that's the only thing you find today that's like, maybe? Yeah. So there you go. That's what I discovered. So meanwhile, while you're down in the basement for many hours, upstairs in the choir's temple of spring, Ludovic, do you stick around to talk to Roblard, or have you left and you meet with him
Yes. No, I guess it makes sense to be like, oh, I'm actually here today. After I've spoken to all the people, we'll have our meeting later to meet. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And all the while that he's waiting, he's just kind of like staring at the grass and like looking up at the sky, the roof, and all the strange architecture.
Mm-hmm.
He probably doesn't say very much because he doesn't know what to make of it at all. He's not had any dealings with gods or belief really in his life up to this point.
Right, yeah, you come from a place where people believe in cold hard cash.
Yeah. He's like, there are things that you can't buy that happen.
So while you're kind of looking around, trying to guess how expensive this building was to repair, a monk approaches you, and he's like a young man in his mid-20s. He says to you, Mr. Axter.
Oh, yes. Yes, no, that's me. Mm-hmm.
Father Robillard would like to speak with you.
Okay. Yes. Please.
Yeah, he says, please come this way. And he leads you down one of the back hallways. and he leads you to a sort of waiting room, like a little office, one of those sort of rooms with no real purpose. And it is, it's like small. The walls have like bookshelves. There's evidence of material being brought in from elsewhere that hasn't been unpacked and found a home for yet. And the monk says, please wait here.
All right. Yep.
And he looks at Oberyn. He says, if you'll come with me, like you're not invited to this meeting. And Oberyn looks at you like, what? Say something.
Oh, no, he's my bodyguard. He stays with me.
I assure you, Mr. Axter, you are perfectly safe here and have no need of a bodyguard. The father was expressly interested in speaking only with you.
Oh, he could stand just outside. That's fine, is it?
Certainly.
I will apprise you of the details in them later.
Oberyn doesn't like it, but he goes along with it.
Yeah.
All right. So he goes outside, and you are left alone in the room. Do you do anything? You just wait?
I think he does the thing of kind of when you're left alone in a room where you walk around, you just like look at the desk, you like run your finger over it like for dust, and then you realize you don't actually care whether it's clean or not, and you're just like doing stuff.
Yeah, look at the first couple of pages of a book before you're like, this is boring. I don't care about any of this stuff. Yeah.
Like pick up a magazine in a waiting room, you're like, I just do not care. This is a TV guide from 30 years ago.
Right. Yeah. So most of this stuff is just like, religious texts. Lots of songbooks, actually. So maybe it surprises you open the first book and instead of words, you see like strange lines with dots on them, like all over it.
Yeah, I can read, but I definitely can't read music.
Yeah, and the door opens when you're looking at one of those, and you hear the rich, low voice of Father Robillard as he's finishing a conversation he was having with someone else, and he says, he's thanking this person, like, yes, we'll see you at the court. I expect I shouldn't be more than a few more days. Thank you. And he turns and he sees you and he smiles and he comes inside, and he looks at the book that you were looking at, and he says, do you have an interest in music, Mr. Axter?
It had never really figured much into my life aside from being a preparation to make for events.
He shakes his head. Nor in mine, though there are those among my people who are renowned for their singing voice. I, unfortunately, am the rare bird that cannot sing.
Well, I imagine being able to facilitate whatever that was more than makes up for it.
I've become interested in music as a sort of language of late. Though I cannot speak it myself, I think the angels have hid a mystery there for us.
What do you mean?
Next time you hear a musician play, listen carefully. Really listen. I think you'll learn something of the man from the song. There's a subtlety to it. A fascination of mine. But that's not why I called you here. And he looks down at the book and back at you and he says, I wanted to thank you for your donation. Charity is among the finest qualities a man can have.
Yes, well, I've always seen it to be the duty of those who can to do for others.
After the donation, I became curious about what other business dealings you had. I hope you don't find it indelicate that I had some friends of mine ask around. You've been very busy these last few months.
Oh, yes. She tries to put on a straight face. Yes. With all the instability, we've had to make a lot of changes. A lot of people leaving the country.
You cannot fault them. Not really. Rats and sinking ships. But I don't think we're quite sunk yet. And I think you agree with me, don't you, Mr. Axter?
It seems you have indeed done your research. Yes. An opportunity, I think.
We're quite alike, you and I. We have a sense of patriotism to a place we don't belong. Not really. I aim to change that. The way the people of this country see us. Foreigners.
Well, the place or the people in it, I suppose. There's not much of a difference for me.
I have to tell you, there is, and please, don't take this the wrong way. I don't mean to cajole or to threaten, simply to warn you. There's danger in your future, Mr. Axter. You've made some enemies, even if they don't yet realize it. Your business dealings... I would love to know what inspired you to buy the sword out of the sheath of the Green Mantle Company, especially at a time like this.
Well, I suppose somebody had to learn about it sooner or later.
Not someone. Me, Mr. Exter. This isn't public knowledge yet, and I have reach that my noble companions don't.
Yes, well, it'd be very imprudent of me to open up and tell you all of these things on our first meeting. And yet, I feel compelled by today's events to do so. I suppose that was the point.
I cannot speak to the point of the angel's will, but long has the priesthood served as recipient of confession. It is part of our sacred duty. What have you to confess, Mr. Axter?
Well, certainly not that. I still believe what I'm doing is for the best. But it is a difficult and a heavy path to have undertaken, I suppose. I really do not know why I'm telling you this.
He smiles, and he says, "It can be a blessing to unburden ourselves. And you strike me as a man," and he puts his hand on your shoulder, "as a man possessed of many burdens. I can help you, as you have helped the church."
I am entirely open to being persuaded.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, he basically wants to know what your plan is. He wants to know why you bought all of the industry that made the swords. And he's trying to figure out what your angle is. Basically, this conversation, he's trying to do what you came in here to do, to be like, why, what does the church want? And he's like, who's this rich guy and why did he buy all those swords? And the machinery to make those swords. So let me find his character sheet and we'll have him roll. Confess your sins.
I might just do that.
What's your will?
5.
Okay. So ob 5. So he's gonna sway you.
Yep.
And I think he's got 1.
What's the difference again between suasion and persuasion?
Nothing. One is religious. One is religiously.
Persuasion
One is
yeah.
done by a priest.
Yeah, priest swayed, and then secular folks persuade. But you can have both, as he does. Okay, so he's just got 2
into each other.
2 forks. Okay, big sub 5. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean you can obviously spin it however you want, but like he wants to know, like, what are you up to?
Yeah. I bet something has been burdening me lately. And I get the feeling that it's a spiritual matter. I've never understood it. It's not been part of my culture or my life before. It feels like it's weighing on me. And perhaps if I can get it off my chest, then I can speak more freely with you, feel less guarded.
I would like that very much, Mr. Axter.
And you wouldn't go straight to the law unless it was...
The law, like doctrine, is a shifting thing. A fish snatched up from a river that we attempt to hold in our hands even as it slips away. The law can be changed. My intention is to understand your soul for its own good, not to persecute you for some crime you may have committed.
Well, that's the thing. It was a choice between what I thought was right and the way I saw the law serving others, not everyone who needed it. In trying to change this country, I've had to people took my sister, tried to ransom her for all the money in Carpathia. It could not be done. It should not have been done. I fear I've made a great many lives more difficult for those without means. I'm trying to put that money together. And in my anger and frustration, people have died more directly. That group is no more. The people who work for them. The one who betrayed me. Trying to do the right thing made me enemies.
Well,
perhaps coincidence or not.
You know what they say about the road to hell. You've you've been trying, and I believe your heart is in the right place. I think I'm experienced enough to be a good judge of these things. It would please me to be able to advise you in these future matters, help you do what's best for Carpathia. None of us can serve God's plan alone. Perhaps you simply need help to hear the music.
But I trust you already. It is that your religion is so concerned with why must the Lady Regent be a part of this? She cares little for others. I have seen it with my own eyes.
And you do not think that people can change?
I don't think she has any inclination to.
I don't think you know her as well as I do.
Well, that is probably true. But it is a saying in my family, in my culture, that to get a true measure of someone, see not how they treat their peers, but their subordinates. And I think that was quite telling.
Everyone is subordinate to someone, and sometimes we must parent with a firm hand. The Lady Regent is not someone with whom you need to be concerned. It's my understanding that you prefer to operate outside the structures of these sorts of things. That's fine. There's room for people like that in the New Carpathia. We need to discuss what will be done with this industrious acquisition of yours. When the Minister of the Foreign Territories returns, seeking to be rearmed, seeking supply, when she returns to the well to find that it has dried up, what ought I tell her? Because if it's the wrath of the law that you wish to evade, Mr. Axter, the time to pay the piper is coming.
I just couldn't see what happened weeks ago at the Corvidae estate. The slaughter of the peasants. To use your position for your personal gain, as the nobles do in this place, is not right. But I see some similarity in what you were saying up on the stage today. This religion, the angels, is hope for everyone, not just them.
He's nodding.
This is why I can trust you with this.
So he says, of course, your decisions are your own. I have done what I can to warn you of the dark clouds on your horizon. Think on what I've said, both here in private and in my sermon today. Think on forgiveness for the Lady Regent. Think on your place in the New Carpathia and what you want it to be. You're welcome here in the church anytime. I hope that we will speak again soon, and that when we do, your head is clear.
I only have one last question. I realized that whatever it is I wanted, whatever change, I could not do what you do. Even if the poor were able to eat, that the gold and jewels still sat upon the necks and chains of the uppers. It would still be winter. And I had not realized that until today, that I saw your spring.
Yeah.
And so it seems that I must look to you as the one who can truly change this. So, my question, I suppose, how can I help you?
His smile widens, and he says, I will think on it, on how best we might work together. Thank you for speaking with me, Mr. Exter, and for your charity, both today and I'm certain in the future.
Yes, you've given me a lot to think about. I should get back to those.
He
books.
He turns and he picks up a book off of the table, one that isn't dusty. It's obviously been read a few times, and he hands it to you, and he says, "You may not find answers within, but questions that may lead you down new paths of thought. This is a time of great change. And for all the fear and the worry, times of excitement. Men like us will be able to shape the future that is to come. Think on what I've told you. Read on the wisdom of the past. Come and see me again. We'll speak further."
Yes, I shall very much look forward to it.
And he nods. "It has been a pleasure, Mr. Axter. But if you'll excuse me."
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay, cool. And he turns to go, and I think you're left where you started, sort of in this quiet room, with your thoughts.
Yeah, what is the book that you gave me?
It's an old book, handmade, illuminated by a monk. And it appears to be a book of prayers. It's a Psalms book from some old splinter part of the church.
Yeah, I think I'd run my hand across the cover a couple of times. Put it in a little satchel bag that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And then walk out, get Oberon, and I think go home.
Okay, great, cool. Well, let's take our second break here, and when we come back, we'll check in with Joy and see where she ran off to once things started getting heated. Stick around. We'll be back in just a little bit with more Burning Wheel.